All right, so this episode is completely different from everything that we've done up till now. One of my guests actually suggested that I do a show where I get to be interviewed, and when I said, "Would you like to interview me?" she said, "No, not me." So I put the word out there, and Sandra kindly offered. And ironically enough, Sandra, you've also been my guest in the show.
Yes.
So here I am as my own guest in my own show, and Sandra Rechsteiner is going to be interviewing me. I have no idea what she's going to ask me.
I don't know either.
And she doesn't know either, so this is going to be fun. Now, before we get going, the plaid shirts, you may have noticed wearing a lumberjack. Or lumberjack.
It's all about the shirts.
It's all about the shirts. It's totally all about the shirts. So what happened was I saw you post a picture of yourself wearing that, and you were all excited about your shirt. And I'm like, hey, I have one too, and we have to wear it together sometime. And I thought, why this would be the perfect time to do it. So that's why. That's why. And this is what typically people don't see me in, but I do wear it. This is one of my favorite shirts, and I wear it all the time. So there you go. Now I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to let Sandra take the reins and ask me. Shoot. Let's see.
I am so thrilled. First of all, honestly, doesn't she look amazing? She looks amazing. And so here's the thing. I've never seen you wearing that kind of casual wear. I don't know if I'm the only one, right? Because all I know, is the beautiful, classy, stylish, stunning, power entrepreneur, right?
So that's all gone out the window now with the shirt.
Anyway, and I just had, I think it's so cool because I love it that she suggested that we wear that because today it's all about a bit more personal, right? So I'm excited. And she told me that I'm allowed to ask her everything.
You can ask me anything. I don't have to answer everything, but you can ask me anything you want.
So I always wanted to know, how did you grow up? Because I just recently know your daughter got married about 3 months ago. Beautiful. She's as gorgeous as her mom. And that your parents were here from Italy. I don't know how many of you know. So can you just share a bit about your personal grow up? Where did you grow up? What's the Italian culture? All the things behind the scene as you were a little baby.
As I was a little baby, I will run through as quickly as I can. So I was born in Sicily, actually. It's so southern Italy. And when I was a year and a half, almost a year and a half, my parents immigrated to Canada. And then after 6 years, they decided to move back to Italy. So I grew up from ages of 7 till I was 17. I grew up in Sicily. And then I moved to California. I was accepted to go to school in California.
Yes.
So I did 1 year of high school in California, and then I went to college there. And that's where I met my ex-husband. He was Canadian. Well, he is Canadian, and we got married. I ended up coming here. Then we moved back to Italy, and then back here. It's a long story, but in a nutshell, yes. So from the age of 7 to 17, I grew up in Italy. Very different culture from here. Absolutely very different. I can talk a little bit about the culture shock when I had when I first moved. Now I live in Vancouver, Canada, but at the time I had moved to Pasadena, California, and not really remembering anything from as a child in Montreal. So when I was in California, people would invite me over, and the first year when I went, it was with my aunt and uncle, and so we would get invited over for dinners or taking out to restaurants, and they wanted to welcome us, and they would say, we're taking you to an Italian restaurant, or they will make an Italian dinner for us. And to me, as soon as I'd be all excited, and then I start eating, I'm like, this is nothing like what we're used to. So that was a bit of a culture shock as far as the food goes. It took me a long time to get used to it, honestly. When I went to college, my favorite meal was breakfast, because the one thing that I totally love about North America is the breakfast.
I can relate to that.
Best breakfast ever. I could skip lunch and dinner, but breakfast, oh, fantastic. So yeah, in a nutshell, that that was that, and I had to learn English and walk around with the little Berlitz. That's how old I am.
Yeah.
I used to walk around with a little dictionary, and Italian to English, English to Italian, and people
No
talk
internet
to me.
back then. No Google Translator.
No Google, no phones, nothing. So, just learn the hard way.
Wow. I bet a few of you right now thought, how old is Shinan today? Because I think this is something that you have to share. How old are you?
Oh, I have no problem sharing how old I am. I'm 53.
So, and this is just amazing. Okay, I think people need to know. People need to know because she looks always amazing. It's in the genes.
It's in the genes. It's in the genes.
Wow.
On my dad's side of the family, everybody looks younger. I had an aunt. She was in her 90s.
Wow.
And
what?
Well, she's dead now. But when I saw her last time, she was in her 90s. And I went to visit her, and she didn't have one single wrinkle on her face. And I was like, okay, this is not fair. I have wrinkles.
Come on.
And she had none. I was like,
this is so inspiring, seriously. Yeah. When you came then to Canada when you were 17, right? Kind of.
California, 17.
Yeah, California.
I came here years later.
How was that? So you met your husband in California?
My ex-husband.
Yeah, your ex-husband.
I met him in California, so we got married, and then we moved to Toronto for a few years.
Okay.
And then we were there for 3 years, and then we moved to Italy. And then from Italy, we moved here. He got transferred here in Vancouver, and that's where I ended up staying.
So from your heart, because we both have European cultures, right? And we both are now proud kind of Canadian with the lumberjacks, right?
Yes.
It's kind of it's a big thing because
it is a big thing.
You kind of earned.
And you just got your citizenship.
Yeah, I got my citizenship. It's like you kind of earned in a great way. You want to be here because it's not something that you were born into, right? It's like something it's a huge part of yours, right? So, but how was that for you then? Where do you feel home, or how?
What's home for me?
What's home for you, right?
It's funny because I've never really thought about it that way. I find that home is wherever I live. Mm-hmm. I make home wherever it is, because I have moved a fair bit. Yeah. So not as much as a lot of people have moved, but for me it has been a fair bit, and I've traveled a fair bit. I think right now my home is here. Mm-hmm. And I feel good here. I love it here. It's one of my favorite places in the world. And so home is here. And like if you're asking me between Italy and Italy I love visiting Italy. I love going home to home.
Yeah,
my old home,
your
to
roots.
my family. Mm-hmm. I love the history, which ironically growing up, I hated growing up there. I felt everything was old and dirty, and I did not appreciate the history of it all. Now every time I go, I want to know everything that I can about it. So now I appreciate it a lot more than when I actually lived there. So it's a good thing that I'm not living there, because you appreciate it more. And it's funny as you say that, because we have Canada Day here, right? We celebrate in the U.S. we have Independence Day, but here we have Canada Day, and I find that every year this is actually my favorite place in all of Vancouver.
It is.
And I come here almost every year. I celebrate Canada Day here at Canada Place.
Wow.
Because I think it's the place to be. Anyway, this year, though, this particular year, I didn't come here, but I was at 4 different locations. I hopped around different locations, and what I found was that most of the people that were the most patriotic, wearing the Canada Day shirt, having the flags, the paintings, like totally being grateful to the max, are the people that were not born here.
I can so relate to that.
They so appreciate it more, and I'm one of those people. I didn't wear the Canada Day t-shirt, but I appreciate it just as much. So there's something to be said to, being grateful for something because you weren't born with it.
So true. So how many passports do you own? Do you have the U.S. passport as well?
Yeah. No, I do not have a U.S. passport. I'm not a U.S. citizen.
Okay. So you were on a visa back then when you did school?
I was in a student visa.
A student visa.
Yes.
Cool.
And I have 2 passports. So I have my European passport, and my Canadian passport.
Awesome. So, your daughter. Let's talk about your beautiful daughter. She just recently got married.
Yes.
What is best? Just share a little bit. I mean, for all the moms out there, we need. One day my son, he's 17, he get married too. So yeah, share a little bit about your daughter. I mean, what does she mean? I mean, whatever your heart feels you to call right now.
My daughter, I'm
can be
so
proud.
I'm so proud of her. So Natasha, if you're watching this,
yes,
I am so proud of her. She's always been very driven, and she's a role model for the younger generation.
Beautiful.
I have a lot of respect for her, and I don't understand why some people don't realize the talent that children have until other people notice it. And Natasha, I want you to know that I don't know what other people say to you or not, but I see your talents, and I see.
Beautiful.
I am there 100% to to support her in whatever she wants to do. However, I do have a funny story about her.
Yeah, please share it. This is why we're here.
A couple of them.
Yes.
One thing that I actually learned from her was about schooling, and the other one just went out the window.
It will come back. It will come back.
So the one about school was that she wasn't doing so well in school when she was in high school. It wasn't school itself, but it was math. She was having trouble with math. Anyway, she was challenged that if she could get straight A's by the end of the year, she would get a sum of money. And she was able to turn her grades around all the way to straight A's. And I asked her, how did you do that? How in the world did you go from not liking math to getting an A
student?
Right? How did you do that? So she was so motivated by the end prize that she said, Mom, I pretended that I loved it. So I acted as if I enjoyed it.
I love it.
And eventually I started loving it.
I have chills now.
Isn't that like
How old was she? How old was she back?
She was 16, I think, 16 or 17, something like that.
I have chills now. What a great lesson. This right? This is such an amazing lesson. It's just, you can think that, just let that sink in, right? Whenever we feel like we can't do it, or we don't like it, we just pretend we love it. It's all up here. What a great lesson.
It's all in the mindset.
You know, our kids, it's just a phenomenal thing when they teach us those lessons. It's like, wow, right? It's like, boom. So let's transition a bit, into your entrepreneurial side, into the thing, because we met actually each other from, that side, in an entrepreneurial network. This is how we got to know each other. So for a long, long time, I just knew the professional Francesca, right? Because you're very present in an amazing way, and I truly believe that you are an influencer for so many entrepreneurs out there, right? And so this is how I got to meet her.
No one's ever said that to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. It's about time that you hear that.
An influencer.
Okay. Yes, you truly are. And so, and honestly, for a long time, because I saw you, we're honest here, okay? We do the real talk.
It's real talk.
It's real talk.
Maybe that's what it's called, real talk.
A real talk. And I think for a long, long time, right? I think it's so inspiring, and I didn't get to know you because there was always a side that was a bit hidden. And I love it.
Hidden or private?
Hidden or private. That only you know, or maybe, I don't know, it was just a perception. It's not a right or if it's the truth or not, right? So, and I realized, there's so much more. I mean, there is already so much influence and so much knowledge and so much goodness, right? That is visible, right? For most probably so many, but there is even a greater inside of you, right? And so this is why I think it's so awesome that we do this today, because there's so much genius as well in her. So coming back to the entrepreneurial
No one else has called me genius.
See? Today is the day. Today is the day.
You're good for my ego. We need to do this more often.
I love it. So tell us about, because your viewers, they know your passion, your true, genuine passion to help other entrepreneurs. And we talk about the women and the other story a bit later, but let's talk about the other entrepreneurs, specifically women, to break through, right? You know, on all levels. It's your true passion. Can you share a little bit where it is? What's the story? What's your story behind it?
My story behind,
you know, for this kind of passion.
My passion behind wanting to help other women is, I think it just comes from my own personal story. And I think that's probably where it comes for a lot of other entrepreneurs that like to help other people, because they've been through something where they feel like, I've been through this, I've been able to overcome it, and now I can help somebody else spare some of the pain or some of the struggle if I can share that information with them. So why do I want to help? I like to help women in all levels, not just the entrepreneurial, but on the mindset as well. But I find that on the entrepreneurial side, I strongly believe that every woman, every being, but since I'm focusing on women primarily, every woman has the ability to learn and build the skill sets to become successful at anything they want to do. A woman can do that. I found myself, I've shared my story a million times, so I kind of don't want to bore people who know my story.
No. There is always someone who doesn't know your story.
Someone doesn't know.
Yes.
Okay, so in a long story made short, I started my entrepreneurial journey out of tragedy, I guess you could say.
Yes.
I had pretty much lost everything. I was in the middle of a divorce. I had lost my job. I lost my home to a fire. Everything was like within 10 days. And my cat. Everything within 10 days. And I didn't really have the skill set. I didn't have the mindset of being an entrepreneur. I didn't have the know-how of any of it. And all of this happened in January 2001. And then my unemployment insurance started running out. I had been looking for work. I was looking for work like crazy, and I wasn't landing anything. So I was forced to, at the end of my unemployment insurance, I was forced to make a decision. Okay, it's either welfare or you do something about this. And
just quickly, how old was your daughter?
She was 10.
Okay, just that, you know, I think it's important to know where for the moms out there, and
10, 11. Actually, she was 11. At that particular moment, she was 11. So it was, I had to provide for her, and it was a very, very challenging time. My family does not live here. I don't have family here. So I was literally by myself. All the people that I thought were my friends, pretty much, most of them were gone. Just like that. So I just found myself where now I had to create a job for myself. I didn't know how to do anything. The only thing that I really knew how to do, that I felt comfortable enough sharing, was dance. So I decided to open a dance studio and teach women like me, and there were men as well, but it was primarily women like me, to learn how to dance, regardless if they'd ever danced before or not. So that's where that started. And when I started the business, and this is the part that I share a lot, is nobody came. Like I had the space rented, and I had my big open house, and not one single person came, not one. And I had done all kinds of promotion, everything that, I had gone through all the steps that I was told to take.
Can you just pause for a second?
Yes.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs, me included, right, are there. Does that sound familiar? I think honestly, so can you just hold the thought? Okay, because
does it sound familiar?
Haven't we all been there and at one stage, right? So it's normal. That's what I want to say. But keep going. It's important that you say
it is normal. It is normal. Yet, it was the best thing that actually happened to me, in a way, because it really forced me to look at my business from a completely different angle. I had to get my head, from being the entrepreneurial side down here, helping you if you're an entrepreneur, get your head out of your business, step outside and look at your business from your potential customers' point of view. And it was doing that. That was one of the key things that turned everything around for me. Every single thing turned around for me when I started shifting that.
Powerful. What shifted? Can you, when you talk about this example? So no one showed up. And
my promotion was all about come take my classes. It was all about, it was all about my all the features of my business. So this is that. And I wasn't really thinking, and to me, there were benefits of if you come, you're going to have fun, you're going to learn how to dance. Like where else are you going to learn how to dance? This is my place. And still, no one was coming. And I had to start thinking, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so I knew I had a market. So it was like, I am my own market, right? So if I'm going to take classes, what would catch my attention? What would I need to see? What would I need to hear? And where would that be? And when would that be? Because there's a time, and there's a place. So it's not just about necessarily that what I had to offer was the right fit, but it was also about reaching the person, at the right, even the right day of the week. Believe it or not, I went that specific. It was the right day of the week. I knew when they got paid. I knew everything, how they thought, how they breathed, what they ordered, everything. So when you know that, you can put yourself in that person's position and go, okay, when would be the best time? And what would be the best thing to say? And how would they receive that? What would be the best way to get them to be interested and actually take action or to notice you?
I love this. I think this was super important to share, right? Because to change from just change the perspective, right? And sometimes we are just so desperate and think, why doesn't it work, right? It's because we don't think as the customer, right? Or the ideal client. And I love it how you said, I know what they ate. I knew how to think, when they go to bed and what time and everything.
Now I have to say something about, because you use the word ideal client, and sometimes I have trouble accepting that word because it's so used. And I think, not because it's used so much, but because I think it's misinterpreted. And when we say, who's your ideal client, we like to think of what's ideal for me. But is that ideal client that you picture, are you ideal for them? You have to think in both directions. So that's why I have a hard time when people say, who's your ideal client? I'm like, it doesn't matter who my ideal client is. What's more important is, who am I ideal for? And change that. So, right, same way as when I was doing the promotion and nobody was coming, the moment I started thinking from the other direction, it changed everything. So if you're in business, think that way, reverse it. It's not about who your ideal client is. You have a market, you have a target market, you have an ideal person you would like to market to. But I think it's more important, who are you ideal for? And then your ideal client will...
You attract them.
Yeah.
Because that's awesome. That's super, super powerful. So tell us more about your dance studio. What happened then? I mean, was obviously the kickstart of your entrepreneurial out of kind of desperation, right? I mean,
desperation.
Yeah, right? I mean, this is a biggie. I mean, and you took your greatest disaster, right? The rock bottom. You took it and decided not to be a victim. You decided to put it into power, right? And to turn it around and just to go for it. I mean, out of survival mode, right?
Well, Sandra, I had no idea what it was going to look like. I was helping other teachers teach, and I was doing it for free. And
dance teachers.
Okay. And so when it came to the point where I needed to do something where I had to earn. For the last thing I wanted to do was step on anybody's toes. So when I did open the studio, I made sure it was nowhere near their market at all. So I did not open it in Vancouver where my teachers were. So I opened it in the suburbs, and once I turned things around with the way I started promoting and the way I reached the students that were coming my clients, the studio grew and kept growing and growing and growing. And it was extremely successful. And it's funny because when you're in it, you don't see it as much as when you're out and you go, holy, you know, we had between 250 and 350 students per season. So that's a lot of students that they come on a weekly basis, right? So it was, you know, multiple six-figure business. So it was a lot of fun, and I had a lot of women came through there. And so here's the transition to
exactly. Just take over. Just go for it.
A lot of women were my students. The majority of the students were women. And over time, I used to see a lot of things, personal things. The studio became the second home to a lot of people. And it was kind of an escape for some. And sometimes I'd see bruises. And it was, you know, I hit the doorknob. And next week is, oh, I tripped on the step. And you say, well, how, you know, like how klutzy can you really, really be? Not that there aren't people who are klutzy and get bruises. I get bruises all the time too. But, you know, some bruises you just know. And so there was always this one side of me that I kept thinking that I should bring experts come in and do talks at the studio. But I never really did that until after I closed the studio, and then I decided to do the conference. I kind of built everything I wanted to do throughout having the studio for 10 years. It kind of built and pointed towards the Magnificent You conference that I held in 2016, which was all about mindset. And the reason I help women primarily is because if I could do it with absolutely zero background in business and clueless, then, you know, other women can do it too. And since 2011, I started, thought it would be fun, came up with this idea of doing a flash mob to feature belly dance, and at the same time gather all the competition, do it together as a community, and then raise funds and donate to our local shelters that help victims of abuse. Well, I did not know back then where it would go. I just thought it was going to be that one time only. But now we just finished our 8th one, and we're leading into our 9th year. So it has been growing since.
Awesome.
And what I've discovered over these years is that, because now we've been in touch with a lot of the shelters around the world that we support, because this is worldwide, for those of you who don't know. So we do this once a year worldwide. And one of the main reasons women stay in abusive relationships is financial dependence. And another main reason they go back after they leave, they go back into an abusive relationship, is because of financial dependence, because they were prevented from working, they weren't allowed to work, and they don't have the skills. So I want to help anyone who feels that is in that position. So I'm glad actually this conversation has gone that way, because
perfect.
I am working on programs right now that they're probably going to come out in a couple of years, where we are going to be sponsoring training programs for women who are in those situations, so they can get back on their feet and actually start a business successfully without falling through the pitfalls that most entrepreneurs do. Because a lot of businesses fail, you know that. And the ones that don't struggle, but most of them struggle for the longest time. And the thing is, there's no need to. I think one of the biggest reasons businesses struggle is because they don't get help. right? It's like, I don't have it in my budget. And the thing is, you don't have it in your budget not to. So if you want to have a business, you got to invest on what is the most important thing. So you need to invest on making that business successful. So I'm not against the DIY, like the do it yourself. I'm totally for it because there's a lot of things that you can do yourself, but there's some things that you really should not be cutting corners on. And that is on the business advice, on getting the actual one-on-one business mentoring. That goes beyond the coaching. So the coaching is your mindset, but I'm talking about the actual business side of things, which is where I see there's a big, I don't know what the word is, void. There's a big gap there that needs to be filled. It needs to be filled. And I see that with my clients. The majority of the clients that come to me come after they've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on coaching that wasn't what they needed at the time, and programs that sounded like they were the solution for everything, but they were only a portion of the solution. And
I love that you mentioned that, because I think many entrepreneurs can relate to that. So can you give the top 3 steps to avoid exactly that? Right, to the viewers. Top 3 steps.
Okay, the first one we just said that, and it's market research. You have to know who your customer is before, like, is there even a market, right? And then the second thing is the business model that you want, is it the right business model for you? Because not every business model fits everybody. Like, what you do is great for you, what I do is great for me. Not everybody fits in the same mold, right? The third thing is you got to work on your mindset. You got to believe it. If you don't believe in what you're doing, if you have any doubts on the outcome, then you have to really think hard. Why do you want to do this? So those are the main 3 things. Like, what's your vision? Why do you want to do this? What's the big picture in the end? If it's just because I want financial freedom, well, you can find financial freedom in a lot of different ways. So you have to kind of determine what's the best thing for you. What's the best model for you? So those are the top 3.
Thank you. What are you doing for fun?
What do I do for fun?
Yeah, what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Actually, you know what?
Lumberjacking with me.
Lumberjacking. But you know, I have different hobbies. I have to admit, I'm a bit of a lazy person, believe it or not, dance background and all.
Yeah.
I tend to be a lazy person. And recently I have been walking. Like,
woo,
I've been doing my over 10,000 steps a day for, now it's been almost 2 months that I've been doing that.
I need to give her a shout out, because remember in March, for those, you know, we have a local event going on where you need to walk up stairs like crazy to have a super view over Vancouver.
Yeah.
And I asked her, you know, you want to join? And she just joined. So you walked up those stairs.
I didn't do it twice like most of you guys did, but I did do it once. I did do it once. Yeah.
I think once she is going, she's unstoppable, right?
Yeah. And that's you know what, that's the thing. And I'm glad you said that, because this 10,000 step thing a day is just something that I decided that I need to do, because, as I said, I am 53 and hormones are not forgiving. I actually asked forgiveness to all the women who were overweight when I was not. And at the time I thought, oh, it's just because they're not putting enough effort into it. And now I'm in a position where, like, it doesn't matter what I do, the weight is there, it's not going off. So so I asked forgiveness. I was wrong. I was totally wrong. So yeah, like, I eat my words there. And so I've made it a commitment to move. And I tell you, some days I just don't want to. I just
Can anyone relate to that?
I don't want to. I don't want to, and I don't want to. It's so easy. Because the first thing I do in the morning is I have my hot tea, and I curl on the couch and I do my journaling, and I just don't want to go out. It's just too comfy and too cozy. And then if I don't do it, then I regret it, and I have to think about how horrible am I going to feel for not doing it. So get yourself dressed, get your butt out there, and it's true. You know, the moment the moment I have my shoes on, actually, I'm not even outside. The moment my shoes are on, I'm good. Then I'm good to go.
And I love it how you say, you know, because I tend, and I think you might have said that, when we don't do it, we feel even I'm bitchier because I don't like myself if I didn't do it. I mean, what's worse? Not doing it, or
it's about
to
thinking
hang
about
out
the
with
later.
me right after because I beat myself up and then I'm grumpy and everyone around me, it's a hard thing, right? So we should think about the people in that moment, right? And just do it. But I get it, right?
Yeah. No, I find that if it's, I don't get grumpy. I'm not a grumpy person.
Show us or tell us your worst self. You know, I mean, explain how explain
okay.
your.
I am a very patient person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very patient. Mm-hmm. It's probably why I could be a teacher for so many years.
Yeah.
I am
totally
patient.
see that. I totally see that.
I am patient. The worst thing, I think, I get protective not of myself but of other people, the people that I care of. Mm-hmm. I'm a mama bear. Mm-hmm. So if I get attacked, not me, but someone gets attacked,
then you love or care,
then the claws come out.
Woo la la! Then you're.
I literally say claws.
Okay.
About not claws physically.
Yeah.
But I don't. It takes a long time. Mm-hmm. I can't. There's only been maybe a couple times in my whole life where I've really seen that side of myself, mm-hmm. and I don't like it. Mm-hmm. But if it is to protect someone, then I will.
You do everything.
But that's the last thing. That's the last resort. It has to really be dragged out. It has to be really dragged. I try to always come from a place of compassion. Yeah. In any situation, I try to understand why is the person doing this? Why is the person saying this? What's the backstory? You know. Yeah. But if it becomes like a deliberate attack, then the defense comes out.
Yeah, super powerful. Yeah. So when you were a little girl, I mean, you were 7 when you were in Italy, right?
When we moved back, I was 7, yes. I had just turned 7.
So most probably then you can, so when you lived in Italy, did you have a moment or your favorite play area or people around you? And was there a moment where you had a dream or where you dressed up or you pretended to be something, or just tell us something?
Okay.
I want to know.
Okay, well, growing up in Sicily, my parents were extremely protective. So
mm-hmm.
Did I have a favorite place? Per se, no. This was always home pretty much. Mm-hmm. I used to, I've never shared this.
That's good.
Okay. As a child, I used to lock myself in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. And I used to use my hairbrush, pretend it was my microphone. And I used to
love it. No, really? This is so awesome.
And another thing I did I did chores around the house, and we had the dust mopper.
Yeah.
So I would, every day, that was my duty every day, to dust the whole house with mop. And I would put on the music, and I would pretend the mop was my dance partner. So I would dance, and I would clean. So it made cleaning a lot more fun because that was not something that I really liked to do, but dancing I did. So I kind of combined the two and made it fun.
Wow. Hey, this is so cool. And you see, and isn't that fascinating? I mean, you made actually your kind of mob dream come true.
Yes.
So this is how powerful, and this is, I think, just a message for the moms as well. You know, even if they see it or not, or if they're aware of it or not, but you know, the girls or the boys as well with dreams, it's so important to
support them.
To support them, right?
I just remember the thing about my daughter.
Yeah, it flew out of the window.
Okay, so I was saying, we're talking about supporting, and I was saying I've supported anything Natasha wanted to do, my daughter. And
how old is she now? Just quickly.
I don't think she wants me to share that part. Okay. So good. I don't know if she wants me to share, so I won't say. But she's gorgeous.
She is.
And very young.
She's married.
And she's married. So I always told her, you can do whatever you want. I will support you. And then one day she announces, when this was in the talks, she wanted to go on the Mars mission, the one-way ticket. And it was like, no, I'll support you in anything, but you're not going to Mars. I will chain myself to the rocket thing. You're not going to Mars. Anything but Mars.
Wow,
yeah.
this is so cute.
So that was the other story
cute.
about her.
This is so cute. And she was committed, right? She was determined.
She was, yeah, she was.
Is that still a thing that she had for a while or no?
She had it for a while, but I mean, the project is not there anymore.
Yeah, but you know, it could be still, you know.
I don't think so. Not that she's got a family, no.
Yeah, but it's so powerful. Those dreams, you know, sometimes there's dreams, and sometimes, you know, that we don't dim the light on those dreams, right? That we sometimes tend. It's so powerful.
Well, you never know. I mean,
you never know. But, you know, you never know.
For now.
For now, she stays on Earth, right?
Like, I only have one child. I like it. I like this child to be on this planet.
Yeah, I know. On the same planet, right? But, you know, one day maybe we can, you know, fly to all the other planets. So it's super powerful.
Going back to your question, Sandra, you asked me about if there was a dream.
Yes.
And it's funny you asked that because there was. I always lived, in Sicily, we always lived with the view of the sea. Mm-hmm. I used to see the horizon. And I used to see the cruise ships go by. And I would literally just sit on the balcony and I would just stare, whether it was during the day or was at night, and see the lights of the ships at night, and imagine myself one day I'll be on the other side. I had no idea how. I had no idea. There's no way my parents could afford to send me anywhere. It all happened in a whole other way, which we're not going to get into in this show because it's too long. But and then years and years later, I was in Mexico. I was on Cancun, and I'm walking at night. It was midnight, and I was walking down the beach, and there was the moon over the ocean, the warm breeze. The air was. All of a sudden, I had this deja vu of when I was back home, and going, I'm on the other side.
I have chills now.
I'm on the other side. And I started crying there. I was like,
super powerful.
It was unreal. I had been already on this side for many years, but it was not until that moment.
It was just the connection from here to here, right?
Yeah, and the visual, right? Wow. That the moon reflecting on the ocean, being on the beach, that warm air. It was just like the same thing, except on the other side. So, yeah.
This is super, super touching. This is super powerful. And if you think now, your future, right? You are on the other side, but there are so many more dreams ahead, right? There is maybe another side, or you know, even the Mars side. There was a joke.
I ain't going to Mars.
You know,
there's no ocean there.
You know, where are you right now in your life? Can you describe it? And what is your bigger purpose now for the next decade? What is it that you feel called to do? To be, to become, to...
I want to impact as many people as I can, whether it's through video, whether it's through my podcast, whether it's through conversations, whichever way. We got music going on.
I know. Right. You don't want me to dance.
That's okay. You know, my favorite style dance, it's funny you didn't ask me what my favorite dance style is, and that's freestyle, because I can do whatever I want. There are no rules. That's my favorite.
Mine too.
So, yeah, I lost my train of thought again. Where were we?
You were about the impact. Do you want to impact?
Yes, I want to impact as many people as possible. Whether, like, I did that through the dance classes. It's whichever way. So,
can I just pause for a second? Yeah. Okay. The sound is on. You can pull the chair and you can do your freestyle.
No, we're not.
See, now it's good. That will be the best.
Yeah, but we're not doing that. This is all you get today.
Are there 3? Let's say 3. I wanted to do 5. 5 things. If you look back to the good and the bad in your life, the experience as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as someone who hit rock bottom, you know, the amazing you that has shaped you until today. Are there 3 things that you would like to share with your audience right now? Let's say to the women, sorry man, you're right, but let's talk straightly for the women, because this is how we can identify what is the best advice that you, the 3 advice that you would give to every woman that just is watching right now,
regardless of where they are in life.
regardless where they are in life, with your wisdom that you gained.
Yeah. It's funny because I was asked something similar just not too long ago, probably in the other episode. And I think the biggest one would be whatever that little voice inside you is telling you is your dream, whether it's if you want to be a singer, whether you want to be a speaker, whether you want to be a climber of Mount Everest, whatever it is, go for it. Do whatever you can to constantly point yourself in that direction. So it doesn't mean that if right now it seems impossible, like it was impossible for me to even fathom the idea of being on the other side.
Yeah.
But my mind was always on this side of the world. So always point your thoughts in that direction, and you'll be surprised on how more receptive you will be at the opportunities that will help you get there. When you give up on your dream, then you shut that door, and then it becomes wishful thinking. So instead of making it wishful thinking, make your wish with purpose. Beautiful. And make it just always never dim that light on it. Never dim the light on it. Always keep that. So that was my first one.
That was your first one. Super powerful.
You want 2 more?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the second one would be, if you are in an environment where you can't help it but be around negative people, because it can happen. I had that for a while, where people around me, most of the people, they say that you're the average of the 5 people you hang around with. Well, sometimes you don't have a choice. So when you don't have a choice, what you do want to do that can still help you is read as much as you can from people, books that will uplift you, not novels, like, personal development books, inspiring stories, real stories.
Listen to our podcasts. Sorry.
You can listen to my podcast.
Sorry.
Thank you. You can follow the Succeed Against the Odds show. Well, I have amazing guests like you, right? Like, everybody has a story, powerful and uplifting. So surround you, like, you can get that information outside of people. You can get the support outside of the actual physical people being around you. If you're not able to have that positivity, you can create it. Even be very careful with the music you listen to and the lyrics. The lyrics of the songs are powerful. We don't realize.
The subconscious.
I had this. If any of my original students are watching this, they will know, because they will remember this. Because I remember we were working on a routine that we were going to be performing at an event.
Yes.
And English is my second language, and although I speak somewhat fluently, when it comes to songs, I don't always understand the lyrics in songs because they're not being said the way we say them when we're talking. And I taught a whole course to this one song. I choreographed this particular song, and it was the second last rehearsal that we had. I understood the words. And I was so embarrassed. It was a hip hop song. I was so embarrassed. I literally stopped. I walked to the sound system, turned it off, and I turned around and looked at my class. I'm like, I am so sorry. I have no idea what the song was about. We can't perform to this. We cannot. So I had to find another song to substitute, and I had to modify the ending so that it would fit.
This is so powerful.
So music is very powerful. The words. So yeah. So that's the second one. And the third one is always believe in yourself. And we have 2 voices. We have the gut voice, the little instinct that tells you to go do things. And then we have the little negative, blah, 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 you can't do this. And who do you think you are? Blah, 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 blah. You say, thank you very much. Now it's time for you to be quiet, or just go there in the background. Keep talking over there. You can keep talking, but stay over there. I got better things to do.
Yeah.
Right. So those are my 3 things.
I love it. I love it.
Don't let them get talking here.
I love it. Don't let them pay rent. You know, those voices in your head,
exactly.
right? So it's too expensive.
Exactly.
So you just have one voice. I have a couple of those voices. Right?
Oh, I have a million voices,
yeah, okay.
but we'll just say one.
You know.
I just don't want people to think I'm crazy, but you know.
Technically we are, but it's okay. We are owning it. So, one question I have for you.
One last question.
May I? The podcast, okay?
Yeah.
Success of the art. Can you just share how do you create it? How do you come up with what's the story?
Why the podcast?
Yes.
Same reason as this, and same reason I said before, because it's my way of reaching as many people as possible.
Okay.
If I can, whichever medium I can find, I will use. And I've been having guests for most of the episodes.
Yeah.
So for the YouTube show, it's all been with guests. For the podcast, it hasn't all been guests. There are some audio podcasts where some episodes is just me.
Cool.
And ironically, here I am bringing all these guests with all the expertise, but I've been getting requests to do more solo casts. So watch out for those, because I will be doing more.
I love it.
Sharing some of my expertise.
And you know, I like that feedback, because I think people are hungry to learn from you. Right? One final question. So,
okay.
What is when you are at home? Because you look always stunning, right? She has style, she has class. Whenever you see her, you know, it's the
you
first
don't see me at home.
Exactly. So just can you just describe us, you know, the yo-yo you, when when you don't want to go live, and please don't have a look.
That's why I don't go live much, actually.
Right? you know, so let us know how. Describe that.
Okay, so
honest and real. Okay,
honest and real. I don't wear makeup. Like most days, I don't. Like if I work with my clients on the phone, I don't need to wear makeup, so I don't wear the makeup. Some days I'm on my pajamas until the afternoon.
Cool.
If I'm not going for my walk.
You have those funny, you know, the slippers,
No.
the flousy flippers. I'm just checking. We want to know.
I used to have the fuzzy slippers. No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't anymore.
Just checking.
Yeah. So no, I've had days where I've had to work, and that's bad me. I'm really working on this really hard lately with the 10,000 steps, and to really get into a better routine, because I tend to be a workaholic. I love what I do. It's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing, because when you love what you do and it doesn't feel like work, you can overdo it. And I've had days where especially when I've been running Shimmy Mob, those are the days when I end up with my pajamas longer because there's so much that goes on. I'm running 2 businesses at the same time. It takes a lot of hours out of the day. And you'll see me in my pajamas and my hair in a
bun.
Not even a bun. I call it the shower hair.
I love it.
So I'm actually going to show you what it looks like.
Please,
I don't have an elastic with me, so I can't show you that part. But it kind of looks like this.
Hey, but you know what? I kind of love it. Isn't it amazing?
It kind of looks like that. So that's my shower hair. I'll put it up and I'll go about doing my stuff. And sometimes I get out of bed. Those really brutal days, I get out of bed, and the worst thing I can do is check the phone. Check the phone.
Oh yeah.
Because the moment I check the phone, it becomes work for me, and then it's work.
Yeah, and then you're in the zone, right? I know that feeling.
And then it's like, but I have to do this, and I have to do that, and I can't take time to go out and do what I need to do for me.
So that's another advice too, right? So at morning, don't check the phone. Right. Don't check the phone. Do your thing and the shower hair first.
Yeah. And you know what? I've gotten to the habit now when I do my walk in the mornings, I turn off the data on my phone. Good. So that I don't get disturbed.
Your terms.
On my terms.
I love that.
No interruptions.
I love that.
I know it's off. I don't have to go and check in.
Yeah.
It can wait.
Yeah, I know. I said one final question. See, we could go on and on and on and on. Will there be another conference?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I've done the 2. The one in 2016 was supposed to be it. And then the second one came in because people were asking for it. I really didn't have my heart in it. It was a good conference. No, I'm putting my focus on the training programs for the women and getting them. I mean, I love doing the conferences. Don't get me wrong, and what they do and the impact they make on the people that come. I just find that I need to put my energy in this other side.
Legit.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Filling in a gap that I feel
called to.
Yeah, it's a gap. It would be the way I would want it to happen, not the way I think it should be happen, but the way, if I were in a situation, what would I want?
May I say that you just lumberjack that out? Like, wasn't she amazing?
Yeah, I mean, you have not seen me in my army boots. I'm not wearing them today, but I do wear army boots too sometimes. So you just haven't seen the whole
see, this is the beauty. No, you seriously, you were natural. How was that? May I ask you, how was that for you? Because usually you're in the driver's seat. You know, when you do the interview, how was that for you? Fine.
I'm an open book. Like, good. Thank you.
You did awesome. You did awesome.
I love the question.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. So there you go. Now you got to know a little bit about me and a little bit of background.
The shower hair.
The shower hair.
That was really a aha moment for me.
So there you go. Well, be sure to subscribe if you like this video. Click the like button and let us know in the comments below what topics you would like to see in the next show. So this is an interim episode, by the way. So we're in between seasons. So till next time. Bye for now.